I'm Matt Bouchard with NAREIT, and I'm in London for EPRA's annual conference. Joining me is Liz Peace, Chief Executive of the British Property Federation. Liz, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Good morning.
What is the biggest policy issue facing British property companies right now?
I think probably the economy. I mean, I know that sounds awfully trite and awfully simple, but we might forget as an industry that our success is totally dependent on how strong an economy is. Property is only as good as the people who occupy it. If you build a fantastic building and nobody wants it, well, then you may as well not have bothered. So for us, the big challenge is seeing how this coalition government can get our economy moving again.
And what is your sense of where things are going?
London is hugely successful. There is development happening in London. There is demand in London. There is indeed high demand in a lot of places. Residential is motoring in London. You go outside of London and it's very different. And as we heard from some of the speakers at the conference, there are places where an investor in real estate can make money, but you have to be very careful. You have to pick extremely wisely. And in fact, what you're largely doing is picking places that are probably undervalued, underpriced, out of which you can then make some money. But generally speaking, across the country as a whole, it's quite gloomy.
And from a fundamental standpoint, how has the British property market, and I imagine it's different among the sectors, weathered all of this economic chaos that we've been through?
Well, I think it's probably right to say that our values dropped faster and further than pretty much anybody else's property values in Europe, probably barring the Irish. So that is not necessarily something to be proud of. But of course, what it actually means is you get the pain out of the way. And frankly, the only way is up. I think there's quite a lot of challenge in getting some of these assets priced properly so that new money will now come in, take them over, replace the bad debt with some equity so you can get some real investment. So I think that is actually a challenge. We're waiting to see how that's sort of playing itself out. And I think for a lot of people, they'd like that to happen more quickly. So they'd like the value readjustment so that we can get the reinvestment. But on the other hand, you don't want too much of that in a great rush because you'll knock prices again.
Now, real estate investment is increasingly becoming a global game. Now, with so many securitized markets for investors to choose from, what would you say to an investor as to what makes Britain such a compelling option?
London is still a fantastically secure place. There are other parts of the UK that offer a very secure, solid investment. We have the right legal structure. We have generally speaking, a lot of good occupier demand. I'm not just talking retail, talking offices. There are still some very, very good investments in the UK. That's not to say that, compared with the rest of the world, there are sort of big, bright, shiny examples of, things that are happening in Sao Paulo, in Shanghai, or some of these global cities that our economist was talking about this morning. But London is still up there with them, and I think sort of by analogy drags a lot of the rest of the UK with it. So I don't worry too much about the UK's positioning vis-a-vis the rest of the world in real estate, because I think it offers something very interesting, very different, very unique. There's an awful lot of people who want to be in the UK.
And what about the Olympics? How is that going to factor into?
The Olympics themselves, 2 weeks and then a further 2 weeks for the Paralympics of mayhem, when I've no doubt London will be absolutely chaotic. But I think we will do what Sydney did. I think we will achieve a fantastic city buzz. Actually, Londoners, Englanders, the British, we like to party. We may have this reputation of being a bit dour and serious, but actually we do like a party. I think London will be one big street party for the Olympics. So I think it'll be great fun, but that's not the really important bit. The really important bit is what comes afterwards. And if you look at what is planned for this Lee Valley, this huge area of what was just brownfield decrepitude, dreadful, dreadful place, it is absolutely stunning. And I think we're going to see a whole new area of London opened up. And this would not have happened if we hadn't had the Olympics.
For more on this and other REIT news and information, be sure to visit REIT.com as well as EPRA.com.